Hey, Justin Popovich here, and probably on the, I'm going to guess here, but I think it's the right side of your screen. I have my friend Sharyn Sheldon. Sharyn, say hi. I want to make sure your audio levels are working.
Hey, Justin. How's it going?
I'm doing well, and I noticed it was weird. It like zoomed in on you. Your camera keeps adjusting, and I'm hoping that the people watching are also getting the same kind of experience. But we can see you, and that's good, and hopefully you can see me as well. And the reason Sharyn and I have actually done a number of calls like this. We've done some business together, actually quite a bit now, Sharyn, over the past few years, now that we got a chance to know each other. And even before we turned this recording on, we were kind of talking about the PLR space. It's a small business model, really, when you think about it. It's not something that millions of people know about, right? A PLR is something that only a select few business people are even aware of that exists. And a lot of us that create PLR, you could look at many of us as competitors, but I'd say we're more partners than we are competitors because we do things in a different way. You have different backgrounds and experiences than I do, and our other friend Ronnie has different things, and there's many other people. We all bring different things to the table. And what I really love, Sharyn, about your content is that it's nicely suited towards people who are speakers and trainers. And you go into a lot of detail with your content, more so than almost anyone else that I see out there. So for people that haven't met you before, if they haven't watched any of our videos that we've done together, or they just haven't seen your stuff, maybe just give a little bit of a background on your philosophy of how you create your white label content. And I know you have some specific goals that you're trying to achieve when you create these packages and make them available to your customers.
Well, and did I just zoom in again? Because on my preview, I keep zooming.
Yeah, it's zooming a little bit. It might have something to do with your movement, or maybe it could be my Skype. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Not going to move at all.
Okay.
If I look a little frozen, that's why.
Yeah. So far, so good.
My background is all in instructional design as well as in business, and a combination of the two. So I started out for it has to be almost 20 years that I worked mostly as an independent consultant to some major corporations, places like Merrill Lynch and MetLife and Paine-Webber, USB Paine-Webber, and some other places as well. And everything was around designing learning solutions for specific business needs. And then I moved out of that corporate world and online when I looked ahead and said, I really don't want to work with corporations and as an independent consultant anymore. I want to be able to live and work from anywhere in the world and still use that same knowledge. So then I found out about PLR when I started learning about online marketing. And I decided to take the skills I had from before and apply it to the PLR world and design the same sorts of what I call learning solutions, but bring it to the customizable, rebrandable, generic market so that it's much more affordable. So it's not just for trainers and speakers, it's also for a lot of business consultants and coaches, really anyone who's helping businesses or entrepreneurs or startups with their business. And my focus is the same that I used when I did training programs before, which is to always look at what the end result is. What do you want your customers to be able to do when they're done going through your product, whether it's a training program or a little marketing report, regardless of what the goal is, what do you want them to be able to do? And then I work back from there in designing the product and looking at what do they need to learn and go through. So the goal is by the time they're done, they're not only able to achieve that result, but they've actually done some already. So they've gone through some of that process. So that's the long part of the background.
No, and that makes sense. I mean, even for myself, when I was in the corporate world, I did a lot of training. Like after a while, I was flying around so often that I didn't even have to look at my notes. I just knew the concepts that I taught so well that you could have handed me a different training manual, but if the topics were the same, I could have taught it. And I think a lot of people, especially in your customer base, they're already experts or they already have customers that they're working with. And where you're really helping people is take away a lot of that hard work in terms of creating that material, the workbooks, the handouts. Because if you're the expert, you don't want to have to grind all of that out. It'd be great if a lot of that, or at least a bulk of it, was done for you, and then you just edit it on the fly to match your voice and your style. And that's kind of what we sort of do with our PLR as well. But I thought that's a really, for me, the way you distribute your content is just perfect for that. It just makes it so easy. And I know that you get that kind of feedback all the time. Now, the reason I asked you to hop on this call was because we have a special couple-day coupon that you've created for my customers dealing with, I guess it's either your latest or next to latest product. It's one of your newest ones. I just want to look at my screen to make sure I get the title right. But how to use the power of storytelling in marketing, which is something I think anybody that's in business knows. Storytelling's key. It's crucial to be able to sell, especially if you're doing like video-based sales letters or webinar type selling. But even if it's in text and print, the ability to tell a good story is often a way to kind of take someone from maybe a cold lead or a warm prospect into somebody that wants to buy. Can you, maybe for people watching, explain a little bit about the context or the concept of this course as a PLR product and what they can expect?
Well, the concept came from actually a couple larger programs that I had on content creation and branding and a variety of others, creativity ones, where customers came to me and did ask to get more specific and drill down on that one area of storytelling, because it's one of the most, it's one of the best ways to really engage with customers and prospects, because it's showing a different side of you. And a lot of times the stories they're not promoting your product.
Right.
Maybe they're about the creation of the product or the background, or sometimes they're completely tangential. Now I'm getting into consultant speak, sorry. I go that way sometimes.
It's your habit.
They might be completely unrelated or seem unrelated, and it's just a little picture, but it's getting that brand in there. So really the big thing with storytelling is it increases that likability factor.
Yeah.
Because people get to know you, and it also builds your brand. So for an example, I actually put a lot of examples into the course itself. I'm trying to think offhand. There was one with Red Bull where they did something with a parachute jump of somebody, Felix, you know who I'm talking about?
I'm just nodding my head to be polite. I don't know. Okay.
Now, things with the extreme games, things that really reflect their brand, and they'll tell a story, and then they'll just have the Red Bull logo in there.
Yeah, okay.
People get to know the brand. Or other people do a background, like we're just discussing now a little bit about my story or your story.
Yeah.
So people get to know us. So that's a completely different angle. But that's the thing that really makes you stand out from the rest of the world or the rest of your market, is people getting to know you and like you and trust you, to know who you are.
No, absolutely. And when you think about the people watching this video, I mean, we're all kind of one and the same. Most of us are solopreneurs, or we have small companies, and we do a lot of personal branding. You're the face of your business, I'm the face of mine. And so our stories about our business and how we built that business is important, but stories, like you said, that are unrelated are almost more important. And you get a chance to show your vulnerabilities, you get a chance to let people connect with you on different levels, and sometimes that's more powerful than just telling stories that show off how smart you are at what you do for a living. As an example, I think it was either earlier in 2014 or at the end of 2013, whenever it was, I did this impromptu video one day for my blog, and the whole point of the video was to encourage people to just try things even if they're not ready, and to encourage people, let's say, for example, to create a YouTube video, even if you feel silly and you're embarrassed to do it. And I went through all these examples of just horrible stuff that I'd created over the years. And I was kind of poking fun at myself and looking back at all these disastrous ideas that I had that were still up there for the world to see. But it allowed me to also show my progress. Like, oh, look how bad I used to be, and I got a little better, and I got a little better, and now look at the latest one. It's a lot better here. So it showed my vulnerability. It showed that I was real. And the amount of feedback I got from that, it was sort of validating people. It made people feel like they were understood because they were going through the exact same thing now. And I didn't sell anything on that video. I didn't say, I hope you like this, now go buy this. It was just literally telling a story about a journey that connected with people, and that allowed, I don't know how many people watched it, but I know for sure that a lot of those people, became members of my program, or, purchased a product creation training course from me, or even just stayed on my list and purchased other things that I recommended because I was able to make that connection. Again, unrelated to my topic per se, but it was a way for me to connect through a simple story. I didn't learn, how to tell a story. I just told it as I remembered it off the top of my head.
Right. That's a good idea. I should do that with my tutorials, because I do all these little video tutorials to help people learn how to customize the content or do a variety of other things. And my very first one took me all day, if not longer. I don't even remember. And I could go back to that. The sound was terrible.
Yeah.
And it sounded pretty amateurish. You know, I've gotten a lot better over time, but I just dove in and did it, and it took so long. But I tell people that who are new to video, often I'm just doing it on email, and that's the kind of story you should really get out there for the world, for people that are hesitant. Say, look how far I came. You can do it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the story. And the best one, the one I love that's an example in this product, it's the Subaru. If you know do you know the one Subaru They Lived? Have you ever seen that?
Didn't see it.
Have you ever seen Subaru, where they show these really beat up, smashed up cars. And people hauling it, you know, the tow truck. And then they always say, and the person in it, the tow truck person saying they lived, telling to the other person. Then they'll show another one.
Oh, okay.
And
Yes.
believe that these people lived through this crash.
Right.
And then at the end, there's something about Subaru. So it's not necessarily, they're all real stories where they actually showed Subarus that were all smashed up and the people had lived.
Yeah.
And that just pulls at what people care about, the people that are their customers. So I love that example.
And that's a really good example of selling a benefit that you don't necessarily even think of when you're shopping for cars. And then it reminds you, oh yes, I also need to be thinking about this when I make my decision, which is really cool. The other part, I just wanted to mention this as well for anybody watching, that especially your PLR products, I'd say more so than almost anybody else that I've dealt with, is that I'm interested in your PLR as much as a personal consumer of the content as I am buying the editables to share with my audience. Because your products go so deep, every time I go through them, I'm either learning something new or reminding myself of something that I really need to be doing a better job at. So anybody looking at this, even if you just want to get yourself back into the mode of storytelling, I think that's one reason to pick this up. The bonus is that she's giving you, well, first a coupon for being a customer of mine, which is great, but also she's giving you all the editable material so you can turn around and once you perfect this, not even perfect it, once you get used to doing it in your own business and you know that the power of storytelling, now you can also teach your customers to do it. So anybody that has, like, if you're watching this and you do the B2B type of consulting or coaching or whatever, it's probably going to be a topic that you eventually cover with your customers, whether you're speaking on stage, writing it on a blog post, something. This package will definitely come in handy. So is that a fair summary of what you have here?
And am I still zooming in and out?
A little bit, but I think we'll be okay.
See my camera. I'll tell you a secret too.
Okay.
I should admit this. When I get a topic like that I want to learn about as well, that sells it for me on a certain topic. Say, okay, storytelling, that's something I'd like to learn more about too. And that's one of the factors I take into account, because then I research it and really figure out what someone needs to know in order to create their first story. So a lot of people do buy it for that same reason, because maybe they know something and they want to be able to help their customers, so they get the product to learn themselves first and then teach it to their customers. So absolutely, I get people all the time who do that. And it's one of the reasons I delve into certain topics too. Yeah.
Well, no, this has been great, Sharyn. I don't want to make this all that long. I think this is a great opportunity for people to get to know you a little bit if they haven't before. This video will be on one of my pages, but we're going to direct you over to Sharyn's site where you can pick up the coupon code for a few days. But more importantly, look around, because Sharyn also has a lot of other good free material and content. I saw, Sharyn, the other day, one of your videos that has tens of thousands of views now about Evernote, and lots of really good tutorial style material there from somebody who's not only got experience, prior to online marketing, but somebody who's doing it in her own business. So she's really credit to you, Sharyn. You're really someone that's good to learn from, because you're implementing what you teach, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, same for you. You do the same thing. Hey, I learned from you.
Yeah. So we're not competitors at all. We're just friends. We're friends and business partners.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of stuff on there, including all the videos under the training. And if anybody has any questions, you can always reach me, email or Skype too. I'm on Skype, and I'll work on getting a phone number. We talked about that.
Yeah. I'm encouraging Sharyn to do the whole phone thing. We'll see if she goes that direction or not.
Well, people can always reach me on Skype as well.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, no problem. And hey, if they can't for whatever reason get a hold of you, they can always ask me. So I think we're covered on many bases here. So thanks very much for watching. Say hi to Sharyn if you head over to her site, and let her know that I sent you, so she can give me a pat on the back for sending her some eyeballs. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks Sharyn for joining me.
Thanks, Justin.